Well, it should be nice and dry now. It certainly looks like it is. But isn't that just one of the greatest clamping systems you've ever seen? So simple. There we are. All glued up and nice and flat. What we've got to do now is get the MDF, which I've got a small bit of scrap offcut here, cut it to size, and then we'll cut the glass as well. And what I actually want is the internal dimensions of this, less, about 1 mil or so. That fits in there quite nicely with a bit of play. The glass I'm going to use is a bit of that broken glass that I replaced in an earlier episode. But I know that square there, so I'll take my measurements from that. I put a dot on the corner there. That should true up quite nicely with what we want. But because I can't cut a square out like that, I'm going to have to continue one of these lines right across. So I might just do it to that one there. I've got this non-slip shelving stuff. I'm going to put on the edge, then get my straight edge. It really is quite a learning curve working in this space, because as you can tell, well, it's not that obvious, I don't rehearse any of this. It's just I come in and I've got an idea for a project and I film it. So we just score down here. Takes care of that one. The matting down again. You don't need this matting, but I find it helps because my straight edge doesn't flop around, and glass is pretty slippery. Put it on the line. And there we have it. So we've now got glass in there and that in there. We now have to cut this to size. Centralise it and then just run this rotary cutter up the edge of the glass. Always use a cutting mat underneath, that way you're not going to cut into your bench. A couple of little cranky pieces, so we'll see how it looks. And that really is quite a nice little frame for something that someone else has done in the house. To finish the frame off, what I'm going to do is put a little bit of oil on it so we give it a bit of a finish. But before I'll do that, I'll just sand over these corners and around the edges. Now, I know I don't want sandpaper in the house, but just to knock the arris off the inside doesn't make that much of a mess. Just makes it nice and smooth and gives it a bit of a professional finish. I don't know if you can see that there, but there's not much dust at all. This is a sander that is brilliant in as far as the dust extraction goes. I think there might be some cheaper ones on the market, but it works quite well. And as far as the noise factor goes, it actually is lower in decibels than my wife's food processor. I'll change the pad over. By the way, the brand I'm using is mica, and as you can tell, it's almost see-through. It is one of the nicest sandpapers or abrasives I've ever used, and it really helps with the dust extraction. I buy mine from Japanese Tools Australia. Again, check them out on the website. They've got a great range of bits and pieces. Japanese tools as well as good sanding supplies. I highly recommend those pads. They are, as you can see, fantastic. Come in all grits. So I'll just finish this one off with a bit of 240. And then we'll put a couple of screws in there, bit of finish, and we're done. And if you look at that, there is hardly any dust there at all. I'll even hold it up. Nothing coming off. So it is possible. A couple of little eyelets. I'll put one there. Get my marking gauge out. Might as well make it right, hey? And the same on the other side. And then I've got some finishing oil here, which really has quite a pleasant smell. Libron, which I really like Libron stuff. It's very nice to use. And I'm just going to cover the frame. That's soaked in. So now we get the glass. Glass in first. And the embroidery, make sure it's all nice and clean. Then the backing board. And what I'm actually using for this is an old box, but they're called push pins. That's the shape of them. Grab a screwdriver, just an ordinary cross tip one. Place it behind the push pin and just push it in. And for the back, because this is just not a very heavy picture, I'm just going to use a bit of brick line that I had. And there you have it. One picture frame made inside the house, with a minimum of fuss, a minimum of mess, a minimum of noise, but it's going to keep someone very, very happy. So that's the first project on Room for Woodwork, completed from Way to Go. And I'm looking forward to having your company at the bench very, very soon. And remember, if you can allocate the time and find the space, you too will have Room for Woodwork. Bye for now. H&T Gordon & Company, Classic Plane Makers, Tormek, T4, Japanese Tools Australia, Promac, Libron Finishing Products, IMUF, Safety First, Nobex, and the Plano Clamping